Hello everybody and welcome to Beelzebub's Buns channel. In anticipation for Halo Reach coming to the Halo Master Chief Collection sometime this year, bumped up to 60 frames per second at 4K, I thought it'd be a cool idea to go into my favorite level in Halo Reach. Now, it was a little bit difficult for me to determine what my favorite level in Halo Reach is because I really do like a lot of the campaign levels in Halo Reach. I feel that they are pretty distinct from one another. But this one in particular is called Exodus. And as you can see here, Noble Six, making his way up a hill, is overlooking the entire city of New Alexandria, which is where the entire level of Exodus takes place in. You are overlooking the level right there on that hill. Now, as you can see, I have Noble Six customized as an orbital drop shock trooper. I like to mix it up a lot, and I guess Halo 3 ODST just wasn't enough for me that I had to make Noble Six as an ODST. And I get a kick out of seeing an ODST make his way through New Alexandria. So, as far as the flavor of this month for Halo Reach, I'm keeping Noble Six as an ODST. The reasons as to why I label Exodus as my favorite level in Halo Reach are not so easy to pin down. Sure, I love the uncertainty that Noble Six feels as he makes his way into the city as a lone wolf and witnesses the aftermath of the Covenant's carnage. Deceased civilians are scattered throughout the level. Something foreboding lurks around in your gut as you proceed further into darker environments. The action that awaits you further into the level is challenging on heroic and legendary, as you will soon see later on in this video. But these reasons are so vague and contemporary. There is something more to the technicality of this level Exodus. So you just can't rely on my words to tell you that I like the suspense and the action. You instead have to immerse yourself in this level to include understanding the technical achievement of creating the level Exodus on a game engine whose pedigree was built from the late 1990s. So, we're looking at this a little bit more in depth. Speaking with Jeff Easterling at 343 Industries, he stated in each Halo game there is code that stretches back to Halo Combat Evolved. Of course, Bungie had to rewrite much of the game code for Halo Reach in order for them to achieve the scale they desired on the Xbox 360, and manage the amount of NPCs in one location from civilians to UNSC troopers and Covenant enemies, which you will see in this video. But the improvements to the game code wasn't only in the scale of AI NPCs on the battleground, but the improvements are also in the environments. The detailed objects for interior locations have really improved as they cast shadows from the more organic lighting, flooding the interior corridors and rooms. Therefore, the atmosphere in the level Exodus exemplifies the haunting and tragic outcome of the Covenant strike force. Yet, the large exterior sections of the level still shows a brilliant and vibrant city, which can only give you hope that not all is truly lost in the city of New Alexandria. As much as I like fighting the big furry brutes in Halo, I absolutely love fighting the Covenant elites. Unfortunately, the elites are not in this level Exodus, but I have the next best thing when it comes down to NPCs. I have a plethora of UNSC troopers to fight alongside with in this level Exodus. Now remember, in Halo Reach, you primarily fight alongside with the UNSC army. Therefore, we will refer to these NPCs as soldiers, not the UNSC Marines you normally fight alongside with in all the other Halos. It might sound like nerdy detail talk, but there is a clear distinction between Army and Marines in the real world. So there we go. Now that we got over that, let's talk about these UNSC soldiers. In Halo Reach, Bungie invested a lot more time in the NPCs as opposed to the other Halo games. The soldiers you fight with have much more dynamic movement and detail. The upscale of polygons certainly helped with making the soldiers look more battle-ready, whereas before in Halo 3 and Halo 2, the design and movement I felt was a bit stiff and fragile looking. The soldiers in Halo Reach look ready to rock. That doesn't mean that the AI is much smarter in Halo Reach, but the soldiers definitely look much better at least. Better looking than even Halo 5's wargame UNSC Marines. Now for the Foley in the level Exodus. Given that you are in the industrial city of New Alexandria, the modulated voice of the pre-recorded message adds to the chaos in this section of the level. It makes me understand that before the Covenant invaded the planet Reach, people of New Alexandria were going about their day and heard that pre-recorded voice message as a form of attaining helpful information. But now, it's rather ominous to hear the voice of innocence, or more so, a voice of blissful ignorance, as the sounds of Covenant firearms and explosions echo throughout the halls of this massive structure. The yelling and cries of the humans contrasting with the erratic language from the jackals, grunts, skirmishers, and brutes immerse me into the fray. The sounds of civilization are being masked by the sounds of evisceration. As you gain your way further into the level, you will have a wave defense section. In the year of 2010, when Halo Reach came out, wave defense was nothing new. In fact, we were saturated with video games that had some type of wave defense motif in them. But Bungie was conscious of this fact, so you really just have to defeat one platoon of Covenant that arrive in a Phantom, and a few offset skirmishers that try to flank behind you. This part could have been pretty tedious to play if Bungie wanted to throw in the magic number 3 in regards to the waves, as you wait for an elevator to arrive. But that would have been ridiculous, and Bungie made the right decisions to keep the player moving forward, with just including one simple wave. And here's another example of how cool the UNSC troopers look. And I didn't know this section of the level is actually a platform that does move down like an elevator. I thought it was just a quick little loading screen type of deal where the game just loads you at the bottom floor where you need to go, but it's actually a platform that moves you down, and that's awesome. It just reaffirms how large this level is. Speaking of Bungie designing this level to continue the player moving forward, the level Exodus is linear. There are no separate avenues that you take to traverse this level in order to get to the end. You will have to take one main path. That is not a bad thing at all. Me personally, I do like when a game disciplines itself to make sure that one path is interesting to play multiple times. There are certainly different ways that you can traverse certain locations that open up in this level, as you will see soon as I escort civilians to a Pelican, and that previous jetpack section would only allow me to land on just a few platforms. Ultimately, you and I are going down one major path in this level. But it's just that this level doesn't let you decide what objective you want to do first. And normally I do like that in certain games. In Halo Combat Evolved, I think the second level, Halo, actually was very fun to play because it did allow you to decide what you wanted to do first. Did you want to rescue the Marines in one section and then go to the other location in a Warthog, or vice versa and do it all on foot? Did you want to use a sniper rifle, or did you want to go in loud? I like those decisions that you can make as the player, but that's not found in this level Exodus. It's pretty much all out loud, but you can snipe if you want to, but it's going to be reckless all the way through. I do like the separation of the ledges from the Covenant forces in this part of the level. Of course, you can attack and move up on the Covenant's occupied side, but you can also hang back with your allied forces. This separation, I believe, inherently prevents your allied NPC forces from dying off too quickly, so that there are more numbers on the battlefield, therefore solidifying the point that the battle in the city of New Alexandria is as big as Bungie wanted it to seem. The AI on both human and Covenant side, for the most part, must be scripted to fight in a conservative manner, instead of reverting to running out into the open right off the bat. So I do like this section as it adds some verticality to the way you point and shoot, which is a very basic formula in engagement creation. Of course, this section concludes with you not arriving at a loading screen, but instead a trigger volume that brings in a vehicle that you will now occupy. I love this. When a level in a video game makes you feel like you're doing a lot of traveling on foot and brings in a vehicle for you that is armed and ready to go, so you can lay waste to the foes that were once challenging barrel to barrel and is now rather easy as it's barrel to cannon, I find this in Halo Reach to at least be very well done. You have the visual satisfaction of rescuing civilians who board a Pelican, and now it is time for you to be the death from above. This is a great technique that allows the players to really engage the forces down below in order to prevent more death to the allied team. Think of it this way: if the level Exodus started out with you and a Falcon firing down onto the enemies below, you may not really have a sense of how strong the enemy forces are, even if you played several levels before this. You are just pointing and shooting, really, without looking the enemy face to face. This is not an equal playing field, you being in the Falcon firing down onto the enemies. Therefore, having this part of the level after you've done some rather lengthy fighting on foot is a great level design technique that was chosen deliberately in order to maintain the player's attention.
I've got 600 souls on board, Sergeant Major. I can't wait any longer.
Negative, Echo 2. I can't cover you. Do not take off.
Marty O'Donnell's music builds the tension and emotion to the result of this battle. In war, you experience a variety of feelings such as sorrow and sadness, loneliness, yet with times of triumph. Marty O'Donnell's score in this level is that of pure remembrance sentiment, not something that is prevalent in every single Halo campaign level, and definitely not something that every single video game can get right either. And instead of completing this level in a Falcon and having you flying off into the distance, you have to get back onto the ground to do some work, to get your boots muddy again.
Major Duval, awful day so far. Let's keep it from getting any worse, huh? Cubby's all over my missile batteries, and I got 5,000 civilians across the bay waiting for passage out. I need you to arm those batteries and fire those missiles from the central terminal. Understood? Corvette's been a pain in my ass for too damn long. Give it hell, Spartan.
Troopers! We need to push them back!
This final climatic engagement in Exodus requires you to flip a couple on switches in order for missiles to fire and seek towards a Covenant Corvette that is racketing the environment by destroying human transportation. While this objective of pushing a few buttons to watch a cutscene play out instead of aiming the missiles at a particular part of the Covenant Corvette ship is a bit melodramatic, the awesome fight to push the final cliché red button is very memorable. I absolutely love the driving mechanics in Halo Reach. The Warthog, I believe, is the best tune for the entire game. While the Mongoose is quick and nimble, the Warthog is aggressive, fast, and nimble to its relative size and weight as well. The grip in the Halo Reach Warthog is incredible too. That's why I love how the soldiers embark on the Warthog, as it is a visual cue to the player to get moving forward and to strike with force.
I got families and wounded on board. I gotta get airborne. Easy.
Heads up, 6.
For you will have to, as there are a couple Wraiths and numerous Covenant troops guarding around the perimeter walls and inside the structure with the cliché red button. What I really love about the gameplay design in this level Exodus is that Bungie didn't stop at just having you save a large number of civilians in a Pelican and then having Noble 6 maybe continue on a prolonged on-foot fight with the Covenant and then rendezvous with Noble Team again by being picked up in a Pelican. The level didn't stop at you getting in a Falcon and shooting up a few hundred Covenant forces from a distance by spraying and praying, and then flying away to fight another day with a bigger team later on. The level Exodus has you as a lone wolf, temporarily, going through suspense-filled hallways that are dimly lit and filled primarily with kamikaze grunts. Then the level forces you to get in contact with a large number of UNSC soldiers to fight in a relatively open concrete jungle at different altitudes, and it also had you fight alongside the awesome Halo icons of the ODST bullfrogs. You save civilians, which is the first time seeing civilians in a Halo game despite other Halos taking place in cities. and then you engage in aerial vehicle combat and complete a raid-style fight using land vehicles if you so wish. You kill off a few of the chieftains that are in the structure, which, by the way, look at the chieftain's armor. Man, that looks awesome. I love the look of these things. But you could also bypass them by just quickly getting up on that ledge there and pushing that cliche red button. There it is, and there you go. There's the cutscene. The technical achievement in this level Exodus here in regards to gameplay and level creating is amazing, and it's a beautiful level, and it's gonna look even more beautiful once Halo Reach makes it to MCC and MCC makes it to PC. Even having Halo Reach on the MCC on an Xbox One bumped up to 60 frames per second at 4K, I believe that's going to look amazing and play amazing too. Maybe it will get rid of that motion blur. I'm not quite sure though. I believe that Halo Reach on PC will actually be able to give you the option to do away with that motion blur that Halo Reach has always been known to have for coming up on 9 years now. I know that Vengeful of Adam through mods was able to clean up the visuals a little bit and get rid of that motion blur. Well, only time will tell how amazing this game is going to look here in the near future. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.